Good evening, everybody. Martin Millett here. Hope you're going well. It's been a fantastic week here in England. The non-essential shops are reopened. The hairdressers are open as well. As you can see, my new Johnny Clegg-inspired haircut. And the pubs are also open for outdoor dining. So I've been able to go to a Wetherspoons and chat on a vegan burger. And yeah, I think you can travel around to England, or you can go on a staycation and maybe cross into like Wales. But got no plans to get outside of London until next month, because I really just want to get busted. So if I tried going to Southampton a couple of months ago in December when Tier 4 happened, I would have been in big trouble just for getting on a train, even though I already had tickets to go out there. So I'm going to be talking to you about like my history of looking for properties and housemates and places to rent. Now it all started, it was May 2015. And I was in Sydney, Australia. I had a hard time being 29 years old, living with my mother and my middle-aged brother. And I thought to myself, look, I'm 29, I really want to move out of home now, so I only had a few months to go until I could move to Sweden. So I just went looking for a place to rent within Borkum Hills, where I used to live. And so this woman, she replied to my ad online. She says, but I'm in really need of a roommate and all. And then the next day she said, oh, sorry, I've given my room away. And then another one was like, oh, sorry, the ad you're applying to, it's only for females only, even though they didn't say, like, females only. And then this one person who was close friends with one of my old church pals, Chris, she says, yeah, can you please come over and inspect the property on Monday? And I said, okay, sure. So I go there and she just says, sorry, I've had a family emergency, can't be there. And my work friend, Sonia, drove me out to the property. And then the next day, she drove me out to the same property. And so I send the woman a message saying, hey, I'm here, and she's just not home. She had no decency to reply to me on Facebook. And at that moment, I basically said, look, I can't be bothered waiting around for, September to happen. So I moved to Birmingham. And the funny thing was, a few days after I moved to Birmingham in July 2015, I moved into a room in Bearwood, not far from the city centre, and I stayed there for a whole month. And the only reason why I left that place was, 3 weeks in, I was just getting really unhappy with people turning me down for jobs. But I kind of felt quite lucky I was able to get in to rent this place without even having any proof of identification or proof of my income. I basically said, look, I've moved here, I'm a British citizen, I want to look for a job, and I really need to get a national insurance number, I need to get an NHS number. So then I basically left Birmingham the end of August, and I went back to Sydney to look after my mum. And April 2016, I was so close to moving into this guy's house in Borkum Hills down the road, but I had a huge spat with my mum again because I was being 30 years old. I was sick and tired of living with my brother, who makes stupid comments about, oh, you haven't been above here or below here in the world, and he's basically just a mummy's boy, and he doesn't even move out of home right now. He's 40 years old. So I went back to Birmingham and I moved to a house, and I basically had a dispute with the Romanian and the Polish housemates because I was complaining about room and bodyodors. So I told them in their face to F off. I basically spent the next few weeks just waiting for this King Diamond concert in London, and then after that concert I left. So I moved to Melbourne July 2016, and I moved into a property in Flemington, and it was more like a hostel because it was a dormitory room, 10 beds in a room, so I was paying 90 Australian dollars, I was paying 100 Australian dollars a week, so I had to pay a total of $800 up front for an 8-week stay, plus a $100 direct deposit. So I only stayed in Melbourne for about 7 weeks. I got really ill, around September, got really sick when I was really dehydrated, couldn't keep my medication down, and I just had to go to hospital, have an injection, have an IV drip, and then I decided, well, I'm gonna leave Melbourne. So then, it was a period of 6 weeks from the time I came back to Sydney to the time I left. I stayed with a Chinese family in Winston Hills. I would have, stayed on in Sydney and got a better job, but I've been screwed around with all these stupid like agencies, like with like 0 hour contracts, and it was my main aim was to travel from Vladivostok to London, which I did at the end of the year. So I was living back in Birmingham in Quinton in a house with two Cameroonian exiles, and I was there for 4 months. And I basically had no trouble getting this place, even though I had like no job to my name and hardly any much money. So my mom loaned me some money, and then months down the track, I decided to move to London. So I spent a whole year in London living in youth hostels, and the main reason was I found a room to rent, and it was run by an agency called One Room. So I paid them the 210 pounds for a deposit of 2 weeks' rent, and then another £105 for fees. But then when it came to collecting my rent money, there were lying idiots who took my rent money out of my cupboard and lied to me, saying they didn't have it and they were going to like, kick me out. So, being xenophobic again, I was just basically I got into an old at flame war on Messenger, and I just told them to shove it. So, and then how I got a place to rent in London for 2 months was thanks to Homestay. Like you can go online, and if you want to stay in someone's house for 2 months, you basically say, "Look, I want to stay for 2 months, just as a temporary thing," and they'll like let you do it. But through Homestay, this is where I found my place to live in for 14 months, Walthamstow. And then I got kicked out mainly because it was a really bad relationship with like the woman living there was a landlord. She only basically rented rooms out to lodgers who would not, go on benefits and would not, put their name on the electoral roll and would not, claim the dole at her house, which I thought was pretty unfair. Because, I mean, right now, this place I'm living at, I can claim the dole, I can put my name on the electoral roll, and and pretty much I can get mail sent to my house, which is quite good, because some people you live with temporarily, they won't like that. Just like that Jamaican woman I lived with in Birmingham who was very xenophobic and didn't like me doing business with Pakistani-owned shops. I found this place online thanks to Spare Room, and my way around getting an inspection is basically you have to be upfront. You have to say, "Hey, my name is Jacob Costa from Greece. I'm working full time. I would be wondering if you could allow me to inspect the room like 2 days from now at 5 o'clock." Because whatever you do, you want to inspect a room after 5 o'clock at night when the people are home, because if the people are not home, who's going to let you into the house? And then, so after you inspect the room, you gotta be, a bit more conservative. Like, ask a lot of questions. Just don't go in there and look at the room and say, "Oh, it's a room. Oh, it's a bathroom." Just ask certain things like, how often does the council empty your bins? How do I pay the rent? How do I pay this bill? How do you operate this machine and all? And basically, if you're down to earth friendly and you've got proof that you're earning money, like pay slips, and you got bank statements, and you got identification documents, sooner or later you will be living in a room in London and paying rent to a landlord, private landlord. But whatever you do, do not go through agencies, because agencies can jack up the price. They can charge stupid fees. One time, this agency in East Ham was charging 105 quid a week. So they wanted a month's rent, usual, as a deposit, and then they wanted a month's rent up front, fair enough. And then the rest was in fees, so that was like a total of 1,000, so I just told them to shove it. Because, I didn't pay any fees moving to this house, because all you need to do is pay a month's rent up front, and then a month's rent for a deposit. But don't go for agencies who are only asking for 2 weeks rent, because those types of people are really screwy. They don't know how to deal with people in person, and worst of all, some of these people they'll take your deposit, and if you leave without a notice, they won't give it back to you. Or if you leave with notice and you leave in good condition, they might not also give it back to you, which is also illegal and criminal. And if you are, moving into a property and you pay a deposit, you got to make sure the landlord puts that deposit in like a trust, like not in his bank account, because if he puts it in his bank account, literally he's just going to spend it. And when it's time for you to leave, well, he's probably not going to be able to give it to you because of his stupid spendings. So anyway, this is what I've gone through to, find a place to live. I swear to God that I won't be living in any more hostels from now on, because I've got a decent amount of money. I've had a good job for the last 4 years, and I'm pretty up and at 'em for the bright side of life. I mean, maybe in a month, no, sorry, not a month, maybe in a year's time, I'll probably be living somewhere else in the world where it's much cheaper, and I just have to wait in this country for those moments to come along. Anyway, Martin the Metalhead, over and out.